Hello everybody, this is Everyday Commentary. I'm doing things a little out of order because this knife has already been reviewed on my channel, or on my page, but I wanted to put up an overview on the YouTube channel just for purposes of comprehension. This is the James brand Folsom. This is the third full production run knife. They made some knives before the chapter knife, but they were like onesies and twosies. The chapter knife was their first production knife. Then they made the County, which was a slip joint. They made the Wave, which is really a variation of the chapter knife, and then they made this knife. So really maybe four, but you know, you put an extra doohickey on the handle. I don't think that's a new knife. This knife is 2.8-inch blade. It runs Bd1 Steel, which is a really cool steel from Carpenter. Bd1 is a easy to sharpen steel, and as you can see, we're talking definitely under 3 inches. So we put the it's clearly under 3 inches because the handle starts there. There's a really pronounced belly, as you can see, and this is common with a lot of the James brand knives that are always drop points with lots and lots of belly. I really do like this blade shape. It gives you great ability to do some cutting, and you can do some roll cuts here. It also leaves a pretty sharp tip, but nothing that's so sharp as to be fragile or breakable. The knife deploys with this triangular thumb hole, which I'm not so super thrilled about. It runs a liner lock, which I like. This knife is exceedingly thin. I mean, this is a thin knife. Let's take a look in comparison to something like this knife, which is the little chubby number 25 from Great Eastern Cutlery. This is a much smaller knife, and it's a little fatter. It's very similar in thickness to something like the Grimsmo, which is also a very, very thin knife. But overall, the knife is extremely thin. The handles are G10. I really like the G10 here. It's textured but not shreddy. It's just about perfect. If you notice, there's some jimping up here, which is also textured but not shreddy. It has a pocket clip. And the pocket clip is not a deep carry pocket clip. I'll get to what I don't like about that in a second, but one more thing. The knife has a pretty substantial cutout for the liner lock, so it's very easy to engage or disengage this knife. The lock pops right open. It has this green. This green is sort of the James brand color, official color. It has this green piped lanyard hole, which I like. Weird in the sense that this knife is not an open construction knife. I don't know why they would do that. They took this out. It would be a little extra weight savings. This knife, though designed in Portland, Oregon, is made overseas. This is not a USA made knife, which is a little disappointing. I'd like to see a USA made knife. I know that Ryan from James Brand deals with Jeff Freeman a lot, and Jeff Freeman makes a point of making blades here in the United States. So it doesn't seem like guys up in Portland would have a hard time finding a way to make knives up in the United States, given that Portland and Tualatin, Oregon are right in the same neck of the woods, and they are sort of the cutlery capital of the United States now. So this is an overall very nice package. I like the blade shape, I like the steel, I like the handle shape, I like how thin the handle is, I like the handle material. I don't like the blade coating, because blade coatings always suck. And this blade coating is especially stupid because the Bd1 is very, very corrosion resistant. I wouldn't say that it's a drawback to the knife, because they do make one that's uncoated. It's the blue-handled one, so just buy the blue-handled one. One thing that I do not like, though, is this pocket clip. There's something weird about the pocket clip. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it doesn't have that customary down and then back, down and up and then back down, like a Spyderco or a Kershaw does. And it feels a little tiny bit flimsy. It's not like gonna move around on you, and it's not gonna pop off, but it does feel a little bit less sturdy than it should. And if you want to see the down, up, down sort of thing, let me see if I can get the camera to focus. See, there you go. It goes down, and then up, and then back down again. There's like a little flattened area here. This is my shop knife. I think this is called the Buck Odyssey. I have beat the living hell out of this knife. I mean, it gets thrashed on because it's down here in my shop. And I sharpen it on my belt sander or whatever. But that's what I meant by little downward tip. This doesn't have that, and so it does snag a little bit. It is also a little flimsier than I would like. Like I don't like that bing, bing, bing. You can kind of hear it, whereas this one has a nice snap, no ping to it. So not thrilled with the pocket clip. But really, that's probably the only thing that I hate. I don't really like the triangle. I think they could have just done like the oval on the Strider, and it still fits the purpose. You know, the idea is that they can tuck a lot of the blade in to the handle by doing this, but just make it normal. I know that you want to look a little different and catch people's eye, but bleh, it doesn't work so much because the pad of your thumb gets caught in the fat, or the fat pad on your thumb gets caught in the corners a little bit too much. Could be a hole, you know. If it's just a hole, that works really well. We know that works. There's a company that does that. And that brings me to the final criticism of this knife. This knife is $100. The native 5 with FRN handles and S35VN and made in the United States is $85. I can't figure out a reason why you would buy this knife, which is basically the same size and a very similar shape, to a knife that has slightly better ergonomics, has a better steel, is made in the United States, and is almost $20 cheaper. It's like $83 to $85 depending on where you buy it. So I don't get it. Like, if this knife was $80, it would be all kinds of competitive. But at $100, you're going against some really, really good knives, and I don't think that this is quite at that point yet. I don't think they're quite there. This isn't a bad knife. In fact, I think it's a very good knife. It just happens to be very similar to one of the best knives, you know, made in the last 25 years in the native 5. So, I like it. I just don't know if I would ever buy the James Folsom.